Hey, what's up guys, TechVid here, and today we will be unboxing and reviewing the new M3 MacBook Air. Let's get started right after the intro. So now that we're back, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So this is the 15-inch MacBook Air. This is configured with 8GB of unified memory, a 512GB SSD, and the 8-core CPU, 10-core GPU M3 chip. Now let's go ahead and open this up. Now this side, now let's go ahead and flip the laptop box over and open it up for the first time. And here it is, the M3 MacBook Air. Here it is. Let's go ahead and set the laptop itself to the side and take a look at what else is in the box. So as you can see, Apple has switched back to MagSafe ever since the M1 Pro line of MacBook Pros in 2021. They've switched back to MagSafe with MagSafe 3. The previous version of MagSafe, MagSafe 2, was, I believe, released in 2012 and discontinued in 2016 when the Touch Bar MacBook Pros came out. Technically 2015 when the 12-inch MacBook, but the Pros and Airs still had the MagSafe charger at that point. So here's the MagSafe 3, which they still do use as of 2024. Then we have our instruction booklet with the Design by Apple in California, along with our stickers that are color matched to the color of the MacBook in our midnight blue color, which is really nice. And last but not least, we have our charger. This is the dual USB-C configuration, so this can not only be used to power your MacBook Air, but it can also be used to power your phone or watch at the same time, or your iPad. This is a 35-watt adapter, which is surprising because the previous Intel model MacBooks used to use a 65 or 85-watt power adapter, depending on which model of Pro you had. If you had a 13-inch, then you would have gotten a 65-watt. If you had a 15-inch, then you would have gotten an 85-watt. Shockingly enough, the new M series MacBooks run on 35 watts only, which is honestly quite shocking. And considering the fact that this charger charges the iPhone as well, can charge two devices at once, it's quite shocking. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the MacBook itself. So, you open it, to flip it over, like this, and here we just pull up. Ooh, that Apple unboxing experience. Look at that. And I already got a fingerprint on it. Nice. Yeah, that's one of the major complaints with this midnight blue color on the MacBooks, is that they absorb fingerprints really badly, so they do get smudged rather easily. However, that can be fixed by choosing a different color option or using a case. However, I would not recommend using a case due to the extra weight that it adds onto your screen, which can be bad for the hinges of the laptop. So here it is. Let's take a look at the exterior of the laptop. So on the top we have obviously our Apple logo in midnight blue, of course. On the right hand side we have our headphone jack. On the left hand side we have our MagSafe 3 port and two USB Type-C ports. Pretty nice that we finally have gotten an upgrade from just having two Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports. Now let's go ahead and compare this with a Touch Bar MacBook Pro. Okay, so now that I'm back with our Touch Bar MacBook Pro, as you can see, the Touch Bar MacBook Pro that I'm using as a comparison point is 10-inch 2017 MacBook Pro. So it has on the right hand side two Thunderbolt ports or USB Type-C ports and a headphone jack, just like the MacBook Air does. And on the left hand side we have On the MacBook Pro, only 2 Thunderbolt ports. However, on the MacBook Air, we have the 2 Thunderbolt ports and a MagSafe. So you are still getting less ports, however, one of them is not being used by your charger, which is great. And also, as you can see here, the MacBook Pro is slightly bigger because the MacBook Air is 15.3 inches, whereas the Pro is 15.6. Now let's go ahead and open up the M3 MacBook Air. Let's go ahead and open it up for the first time. Ooh, nice. Now I can see that they've rescaled the startup screen. So here it is, the 15-inch MacBook Air, and there is a notch on the top of the screen. Just when we were complaining about the iPhone having a notch, now we get a notch on the MacBook. Yippee, Apple! If you have noticed, there is a larger top row of function keys on this model. The trackpad, as usual, is huge, as for any Apple laptop that was made within the last 7 years. And the build quality, honestly, is not that bad. This is not too much lighter than my Touch Bar MacBook Pro, however, it is decently lighter. That is probably also due to the extra weighting that they have to add onto this, because Apple loves to make it so that your MacBook magically opens without you having to keep another finger on the bottom half of the laptop. So they do have to add extra weighting in for that, but otherwise this laptop is really lightweight and honestly a good option. Now let's take a look at the specs of this laptop. So this laptop is configured with the M3 chip, which is an 8-core CPU with 4 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, a 10-core GPU, hardware accelerated ray tracing, 16-core neural engine, and it has support for hardware accelerated H.264 HEVC and ProRes footage. It also has a video decode engine and a video encoding engine for ProRes and AV1. The display is a 15.3-inch LED display with a resolution of 2880 by 1864. It has a pixel density of 224 pixels per inch, and it can also reach a maximum of 500 nits brightness. It has wide color P3 gamut support and support for 1 billion colors along with True Tone display. This MacBook Air can be configured with 8, 16, or 24 gigabytes of RAM, which is an upgrade from the previous models, especially the M1 where the maximum was 16 gigs. Battery and power wise, this thing is rated for a maximum of 18 hours and 15 hours when connected to the internet. It has a 66.5 watt-hour lithium battery and charges using MagSafe 3. Oh yeah, that's right, MagSafe's back. This MacBook Air can be configured with 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, 1 terabyte, or 2 terabytes of storage space on the SSD, which, as usual with Apple, cannot be upgraded after you buy the machine. In terms of Wi-Fi technology, this MacBook has support for Wi-Fi 6E, otherwise known as 802.11ax, and support for Bluetooth 5.3 technologies. The webcam is a 1080p FaceTime HD camera, which, as usual with laptop webcams, isn't that good, but for a laptop webcam, it's actually pretty good, you know, in terms of laptop webcams. In terms of speakers, the MacBook Air has a 6-speaker sound system with force-canceling subwoofers, and it has support for spatial audio and Dolby Atmos. It has a 3-mic array with directional beamforming as well. The MacBook Air itself weighs about 3.3 pounds. So now that we're done taking a look at the specs of the laptop, let's move on to comparing the performance of the laptop. Okay, so now it's time to run the Geekbench benchmark. And here we are, guys. So from our testing that we just did, we have a single core score of 3,081 and a multi-core score of 12,085. And please do keep in mind that this is on Geekbench 6. Wow, that is impressive. And please do keep in mind that a 2,500 score would be the score of an Intel Core i7 12700. Wow, considering this M3 is that much faster. However, it is kind of expected considering the price of this laptop. Still, this is a really nice laptop, and this means that you could probably get a lot of video editing work done on this thing. Especially if we compare it to what I currently use for video editing, my M1 Mac Mini, which scores 2,399 on single core and 7,975 on multi-core. Wow, that is great. So CPU-based encoding should be much faster, and so should your CPU performance in general just be a lot faster than the first generation M1 processors. So now let's go ahead and test out the graphics power of this machine. So here we are testing out Geekbench's GPU performance benchmark using the Metal API on our M3 GPU, 10 cores. So let's go ahead and hit run. Here is our current Metal API base score, 47,651, which compared to the M1 Mac Mini is 33,760. That is not too big of an increase. However, it should be decently noticeable when you are attempting to play some games through Apple's GPTK or using the Whiskey Shell for GPTK. This should have much better graphics performance. So now let's go ahead and test that out in Final Cut Pro by rendering out a video and comparing the times to my M1 Mac Mini. So here is my project file for the video I made recently on the Nintendo 3DS and how you can bring back online play functionality using Nimbus. If you would like to find out how, go ahead and watch that video after this one. Should be up in the corner right now. So let's go ahead and attempt to export this video through the MacBook Air M3 and see how long that takes. Okay, so let's go ahead and use HEVC as the codec. We'll do HEVC 8-bit, 1080p render, and we'll say computer format, MP4. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and save it and start our timer in 3, 2, 1. There we go, guys. So that was about 2 minutes and 28 seconds that it finished in. And honestly, that is way faster than I was expecting this thing to do. Considering my Mac Mini took about 10 minutes the first time I was rendering this back in, I think that was April. So let's go ahead and test it out again on the Mac Mini. Okay guys, so now we have the exact same file, the exact same settings, HEVC MP4 1080p file, this 3DS video. Let's go ahead and export it on the M1 Mac Mini. So let's go ahead and start our timer in 3, 2, 1. There we go. 2 minutes and 42 seconds, the M1 Mac Mini is done. Surprisingly not too far off from the M3, which was expected based off of the Geekbench 6 scores. However, this does prove that if you already own an M1 and you are planning on upgrading to the M3 based on performance for video editing, you're probably not going to notice too much, especially in terms of encoding video. However, the M3 MacBook Air is still a great laptop if you are upgrading from an Intel machine or if you're trying to purchase your first Mac. So all in all, the M3 MacBook Air is a great stylish laptop with a great feel to it, not too heavy, and honestly could make for a great first Mac, especially if you're using an older Intel machine or a PC and you're planning to switch over to Mac, as it offers great performance and it's able to get the job done perfectly. With fast render times on Final Cut Pro and high Geekbench scores, this is a great laptop for professionals who need a new device. However, if you are willing to shell out the extra money and need the extra performance, the M3 MacBook Pro could be worth it, as it offers the M3 Pro processor or the M3 Pro processor or the M3 Max. It is also worth noting that this MacBook has 8 gigabytes of RAM, which some people are starting to notice is not enough RAM in today's world with higher resource demands for certain workloads. So it is worth noting that if you might need extra RAM, you will need to configure that from the factory. Same goes for storage, as everything is soldered down. And if you are primarily using this as your main editing device, I would recommend upgrading to 16 gigabytes of RAM. And if you aren't willing to carry a large laptop, then I would recommend going with the 13-inch MacBook Air instead of the 15-inch, as this thing is decently hefty, especially for a MacBook Air. However, it is still really portable and lightweight. So, there's my review on the M3 MacBook Air. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay safe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!